Hey, this is an episode of Jacob Lenhoff Tours America. My name is Dwier Brown. I'm an actor. I've been in movies for 35 years. I was in Field of Dreams and The Cutting Edge and To Live and Die in LA and Mom and Dad Save the World, Dennis the Menace Strikes Again, a bunch of television. I was in Gettysburg, Copacabana, Rip Girls, Red Dragon, Firefly. Anyway. So Jacob's asked me to answer a few questions. Where did I grow up? I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was raised on a farm in Sharon Center, Ohio, population 300. That's in northeast Ohio. How did I get started in film and doing plays? Well, I have an older sister, and she started doing plays when she was, a preteen, and then my brother, who's older than me, took that up, and then so I just kind of stepped right into it. My mom was a big fan of movies, and so we put on puppet shows in our basement for the neighborhood kids. And anyway, it was just something I did for fun. I got in a high school play. I did a few plays at a church, and then I went to college. I was going to get into radio and television. I went to Ashland University in Ashland, Ohio, and I ended up switching majors to be in theater instead of in radio and television. And I guess the main thing was I was going to get a job in advertising because nobody could make, I was told nobody could make a living as an actor. I'm just this farm boy from Nowheresville. And what happened was I couldn't get a job in advertising. So I thought, well, if I'm going to give acting a try, I might as well do it now when I don't have anybody responsible for me. So I moved to Chicago and I started doing plays and stuff there. And I got some, a little bit of television work. And then I moved to LA, and it's been my whole life. Okay, so my first TV show was a series called Chicago Story. It was shot in Chicago, and so that was the first job I got. The first Hollywood job I got was The Thornbirds, which is a miniseries, and with Richard Chamberlain and Rachel Ward and Brian Brown, and anyway, Barbara Stanwyck. So that was the first job. We'll talk a little bit more about that in part two. How did I get the movie Field of Dreams? Well, I just auditioned for it like any other job that comes down the pike. My agent calls me and says, okay, you have, they submit my picture to the production company, and they say, oh, we want to meet with him. So I came in and I read for Phil Alden Robinson, the director, and I guess I looked enough like Kevin Costner to be his dad, and I was very, very, very excited to get the job. Some of my favorite memories, well, actually, I should tell you, I wrote a book about it. It's called If You Build It. It's about my experience shooting the movie, some trivia about the movie itself. Anyway, it's available on Amazon or on my website, dwierbrown.com. But some of the favorite things, driving down the driveway to that farm in Dyersville, Iowa, for the first time was kind of amazing because, of course, I'd read the book and I'd read the script, and this farm was just beautiful. So that was great. Meeting James Earl Jones, I was scared to death to meet James Earl. He was the guy on the shoot that I was really very intimidated by because I have such great respect for him, and he was nicer than you could imagine. I put that story in the book, so if you want to find out more about that, you can read it. I mean, working with Burt Lancaster was amazing. When I was a kid, I used to do imitations of actors. My brother and I both did. I did a very bad John Wayne. I did a Humphrey Bogart. I had a pretty fair Jimmy Stewart. And anyway, so Burt Lancaster was one of the guys I used to imitate. And so it was kind of amazing then, 10 years later to be on a movie set with him. So that was cool. What else was fun on the set? Ray Liotta is the guy I sort of ended up hanging around with most on the shoot, and he is a very funny, weird guy. That's also in the book. What else? We just had a great time on the movie. Of all the movies I've done in my life, that was the one that was from start to finish just an amazing experience, and so that's why I ended up writing the book about it. So if you're really interested and love that movie, I think my book will answer a bunch of questions for you. Let's see. What did my dad think of Field of Dreams? Well, unfortunately, my dad died 30 days before we went to go shoot the movie in Iowa. So he never got to see the movie with me. That's probably my only regret that I have about the film. I think he would have loved it. I certainly would have enjoyed watching it with him. I have heard from so many people over the years what it's meant to watch that movie with their fathers and how it's changed their lives and changed their relationships. And I wish I could have been a part of that. I'm very glad to have been able to be that impetus in a lot of other people's lives. But I also wrote quite a bit in the book about my dad, and we had a kind of, I don't know, I think of it as a typical father-son relationship in that we had some difficult times when I was a teenager and thought I knew everything and thought he knew nothing. Fortunately, I got a chance to, unlike Ray Kinsella in the movie, I got a chance to straighten out those misunderstandings with him before he passed, which, like I said, was just before we went to go shoot the movie. You can imagine what an interesting experience it was being cast as the father in a movie who's a ghost coming out of the cornfield and playing catch with your son, having just been to my father's funeral 36 days before we were there. So that also gave that movie added significance to me. Let's see. The Field of Dreams is in Dyersville, Iowa. It's about 3 miles outside of this very small, wonderful town. The field is still there in almost the exact condition. They now offer tours of the house there on the set, on the farm. Anyway, if you're ever in that area, if you love this movie, I encourage you to go see that field. I don't know how many more years it'll be there, and it is there's nothing to do there. It doesn't cost anything, but the field itself, I think because so many people brought their dreams there, it has a very hallowed, wonderful feeling about it, and I encourage everybody to go check it out. Let's see. Oh, we had a 25th anniversary celebration there at the movie, and Jacob wanted to ask what we did there. We had a lot of fun. Kevin was there, and Timothy Bustfield, who plays Mark, and we had a great time. We played a baseball game. Bob Costas was there, and that was really fun. Let's see. One of the most amazing things is as part of this celebration of the 25th anniversary, they showed the movie on the field after dark on a big inflated screen in the cornfield. On the baseball field next to the cornfield. What was kind of amazing, there was probably 5,000 people there watching the movie. And then the lights came up at the end of the movie, and here I am watching it with everybody else. I'm, emotional, and all these people are turning around having just seen me on the screen, and there I am, and, it was... So that part of it was kind of very trippy, kind of, let's see, what else? Oh, one of the amazing things, we were in a baseball game playing some All-Stars, and Bob Costas was playing on our team, but he came over after like the third inning. He'd just scored a run, and he said, kind of very sotto voce in the dugout there, he said, I think I just pulled both the muscles in my legs, so I'm going to go up to the announcing booth, and so you guys will have to take over. So sure enough, he went up there, and one of my favorite memories was the next time I came to the plate, here's Bob Costas announcing, Dwier Brown stepping to the plate, and anyway, how many people get to have Bob Costas announce them at a baseball game? So that was a great memory for me. So that's what I've got. This is the end of part 1 of Jacob Lenhoff Tours America. Stay tuned. My name's Dwier Brown. I'm an actor, and thanks for watching.